Hello, this is the Silver Watchman, and welcome to a brand new series, ColorBlind. Now, that sounds a lot worse than it actually. It's a game. Alright. Now, the premise of this game is you have to be able to. You're trying to save your girlfriend, I guess. And what you got to do is, go through these levels, but you got to be able to see things a certain way in order to get, perfect progression in the level. And that holds a lot of, parallels to how life actually is. Because if you look at things the wrong way, what happens? You could misunderstand the situation. Like if you don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, you can't do certain things because of a certain level of stigma, or you can't help the people you need to help because you're too busy looking down on them with judgmentality. Now, while the ability to have judgment is the case, and it's given to some of us, that's death. And it's given to some of us. That doesn't mean that we should. Observe how in this game, unless you're able to see things a certain way, the proper way, you cannot make any forward progress in the game. If you're stuck looking at everything black and white, then you're not going to be able to properly move forward. And I'm not just talking about, physically. I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. You want to be a better person to go and convince someone of from where you're coming from, then you got to be able to see the world through their eyes. But a lot of people don't want to do that. They'd rather just, cast down the person they don't like, instead of trying to see why do they see the world in the manner that they do. This is where having the ability to see the hearts of people really comes in handy, because not everybody has that. Not everybody is mature enough to even have that gift, because it really can put a big damper on everything. The more you're able to see, the more in a way melancholy that your world kind of becomes, because you can see more, you can understand more, but you also see more of a futility in everyday actions, and pursuing things of this world. You can you learn, you see, it's not, a lot of things aren't really worth it, except things that will last, which is why some people get into this really big mental state of they gotta leave behind a legacy. They gotta leave something behind so they can be remembered. So everyone knows that they existed, that what they did mattered. Because it can be it's kind of hard to see at times, especially when you're serving God. It can be kind of hard to see where God's coming from. Because keep in mind, we don't see things the same way that God does. Even I have trouble understanding where God is coming from. But it's only after things have happened and after I'm able to see more, where I have more pieces to the puzzle, where I'm able to see where God is coming from. Now, is that going to be the easiest thing in the world to understand where God's coming from? No, it is not. It's oftentimes incredibly frustrating because here you are thinking, oh wow, this is happening, this really kind of sucks, only to see that God had accounted for it and already has plans to turn that into something else. Now, in theory, that sounds really awesome, but it doesn't always feel awesome. Because you can see everything happening around you. You can see it all just pretty much falling apart at the seams. Everything that you worked for, everything. And it can feel like what's the point? But there is a point. So you can understand. It's not easy to understand everything. It's not easy to see what's going on. Because when you're caught up in the situation, you're in that situation, so you only see things from that particular point of view. So it becomes difficult to see it from any other kind of way. But just as you need different aspects, different kind of mindsets to kind of make it forward in the game, and it's simple to just kind of wipe it out. Because it isn't your state of mind. It's easy to forget how other people's state of minds can affect their choices and their actions. But you got to understand where everyone is coming from. The basis of most men and women is this: every human on the planet, in some shape, way, or form, just kind of wants to feel good for themselves. But how God calls us to walk is in a different manner. In a manner where we're called to walk in a way that is not, full of pleasure for ourselves, but in a way that causes us to sacrifice that which we want. Because at the end of the day, it's not what we want, it's what God wants. But why should we go with how God wants things to be done? Because God knows what he's doing. He's on the outside looking in. We're on the inside looking out. So, if you've ever been in a goldfish bowl, you can kind of figure, oh wait, everything's weird looking, and everything looks a lot bigger than it actually is. Whereas, if you're not inside the goldfish bowl, and you're outside the goldfish bowl, then you see more. You can see outside of the situation. You can see everything that's going on inside that little bowl with those little fishies, where they're all just like swimming around. They're all like glub glub, swish swish, and bubble bubble. But that's hard to see. That's hard to see from within the situation. That's why God often encourages us to kind of take a step back and understand. And kind of see things before we start casting judgment. That's why he says, look at the log in your eye before you start going after your neighbor with the speck in his. That's God basically, in a way, saying, yo, whoa. Basically saying, go check yourself. See outside of your own situation before you start looking in on somebody else's. Because you have your own troubles that you got to work out. Everybody's got their own stuff they got to face. You know? It's not easy. It's not the easiest thing on the planet. It's hard to see things from more than one perspective. It's hard to understand things from God's point of view. Why? I do apologize for that small pause. I got a fridge. A fridge came in that was ordered a little while ago. So, where was I? Ah, yes. It's hard to see things from God's point of view because of the fact of we're human. So naturally our point of view is going to be a bit like within the bubble. We look at things from the inside out. But God's looking from the outside in. But that doesn't mean he hasn't walked in our shoes. But we'll save that for another episode because I've run out of time. Thank you all for watching. Glory be to God in the highest. Blessings be upon all of you. And thank you if you've sat through this whole video. Thank you. I thank you all. And this is an honor that I get to do this. Not each and every day, but that I have the opportunity to do this. That I get to be your teacher. I thank you all. Blessings be upon every single one of you. And this is a Silver Watchman, signing out.